Welcome everyone to EA Global Summit 2021. This is Sujat from EA Global Summit organizing team. It's our privilege to have Santhosh Kalaiyarasu and Suresh Jayakumar in our presence, the EA consultant and trainer at Sparx Systems India, presenting importing data from Excel and Word document. And I also thank everyone for your interest in joining this session and for your kind information that we will be muting all the participants throughout the session. So please use the chat window to drop your questions to the speakers. Your queries will be answered at the end of the session. So we request everyone to visit the allotted Microsoft Team channel to communicate with Suresh and Santhosh and the other EA practitioners after the session. They both and the other speakers accepted to stay in the channel to have a one-to-one discussion and answer all your queries. The link to the MS Teams channel is posted in the chat window for your quick reference. If you have any difficulties in connecting to Teams, please let us know through the chat window or write us at registration@globalsummit.com. Thanks once again for your interest and support to EA Global Summit 2021. Without any further ado, I'll request Santhosh to start his presentation.
Okay, Sujant and all, and I think hope everyone can see my screen presentation.
Yeah, perfect, Santhosh. We can see the presentation.
Okay, great then. Let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome to today's session on importing data from Excel and Word documents. And thank you all once again being here today. Okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Santhosh Kalaiyarasu, being a product consultant at Sparx Systems India. So I have expertise in UML modeling, EA automation, and customization. And I worked as a consultant for various industry giants like Boeing, Airbus, MetLife, Combank, and PayPal, and many more. So I also have Suresh with me as a co-speaker for this session. He'll be taking Excel, finally the Word importer in this session.
Hello,
Okay,
all.
perfect.
Thank you for joining this session. Let me introduce myself. I'm Suresh Jayakumar, EA consultant and trainer in Spark Systems India. I have a firm experience in BIT and solution architecture modeling as well as in training, and I have expertise in framework customization as. So, as for today, we are planning to look into importing data from Excel and Word importer into EA. So, starting to this, Santhosh will be assisting us or helping us how to push the data from a Word importer from an Excel importer into EA.
Thanks, Suresh. Okay, let's see today's agenda. Okay, so first we'll be seeing how modeling in EA is made easy using MDG integration for Office Suite, which was developed by Sparx. And actually, when there are two main utilities we'll be discussing today, or Excel importer and Word importer. So let's get started. Okay. Okay. I assume that audience here are EA users or consultants, and you all would be in a situation to create numerous model elements, attributes, connectors, tags, etc., and would have been familiar with EA. Though EA facilitates you to create from EA toolbox, it's going to be a laborious task when it's going to be a load of applications or like load of data that you would like to build in EA. So would you be comfortable doing this in a usual way, creating this much data, or there will be a situation that all data resides in some documents or spreadsheets which are commonly created by non-users like business analysts, architects, but our organization expects all these information to be managed in a holistic view that enterprise architect would support. So that be expectation all this data to be inside a EA as a model. But is it feasible to convert them manually when it's going to be loads of data and there is like a lot of rework happening? within, and if your organization has too many people needs to involve in modeling and they're making changes, it's going to be difficult. Okay, so that's where we come. An EA modeling is simplified with MDG of Office Integration suite. So that's where, so though we are an official EA consultant, we realize these pain problems needs to be sorted out for laborious model element creation. So Spark system has provided with an automated solution, which is MDG Office Suites, helps us making life easier for a EA user. Okay. So what it comprises is integration with the Microsoft Office suite tools such as Word, Excel, and PowerPoint and Visio. Okay, now let's discuss the key advantages of using MDG Office integration. So MGG Office integration is a simple, very simple interface, easy for any beginner, and it's very flexible configuration tool which allows you to manage as many profiles suiting your requirement. And it's very easy to use, and it's mostly like a wizard enabled interface. And finally, it will show you a preview to avoid any error before pushing the data to the model. So you can create model elements quickly in minutes from Excel to your EE model effortlessly. So it's going to be easy. And it's going to save you a lot of time as well. After creation, there comes a modification, and which is the common need or the importer utility support syncing between the data. So I'll show you during the demo how this happens, this sync. Okay. Okay, next we'll just discuss about the MDG integration office suite. This product, so it comes as an additional add-in to the enterprise architect that has to be purchased separately. And you can even have a trial of this MDG Office from the Sparx website, and you can evaluate on that. And let me explain the system requirement. So this add-in is being supported from EA12 onwards. And so you should be installing a Microsoft Office 2007 or higher in your system before even installing this MDG integration suite. And also you need the Microsoft Office 2010 primary interop assemblies, as well as Visual Studio 2010 tools. And basically it supports most of the Windows platform as well. Okay, this is the support on things. Okay, next let's deep dive into Excel importer features that we have. Okay, let's give a detail of it. So what Excel, most data resides in the Excel in any organization, and this has to be converted to a model element. And so we need to provide this information or educate EA, or like we need to provide the mapping information made available. Okay, so this includes so the spreadsheet normally will have the details as a UML elements, connectors, and attributes. Okay, so first what we need to do is like we need to create a mapping profile in EE. So let me explain. So the first step before even importing the Excel data to the we need to create profile that will instruct EA down the line. So how the data resides in the Excel, and that needs to be ported as a model. So first we need a sample document where the actual elements or the details will be there. Next we need to we can have a column specifying what element type within the model you needed. Next, even the properties, what property it has. Then finally, we need to just have a review and create it. Okay. Okay. So what I showed here is the sample Excel document. So we can have a column as a model element type that tells us when with this row. Say for example, the row 2, it's a package, and the requirement is like manage users, and so these are the details that we need to import to the model. So step 2 is just a column is whatever element and mapping information, just review and create. Let me guide you through. Once the MDG Office tool suite is installed in the system. So just go to the specialized menu, and you can see the add-in at the wherever it got installed. And so once you click the drop down, so you will see the list of import features that's been provided. So just click the profile manager for Excel. So this would be the main interface. And so normally, so it will have some predefined system defined templates. So this we can just open or edit. I mean, if it suits your requirement, so you can use it. Otherwise, means we just click on add new. So once you click on add new, so the wizard will start with the screen where we need to select the profile. I mean, just give a profile name. So that will be later, it will show in this profile manager, and give a description, and just select from your local means where you have the sample document structure or details we have. And so within Excel, so you'll have multiple sheets, worksheets. So choose a worksheet that has to be imported to the EA. Just click next. I mean, so and you need to select the element type definition, so the column name, so which type it shows. So subsequently you need to next, if you click in the next, I mean, so the you will see the data. I mean, so whatever from the Excel, it will be populated in the tabular format, and corresponding EA element property we need to map from the drop down combo. So don't worry, I mean, so anyway, I mean, I'll show you the demo at the end of the screen. I mean, end of this slide, that will explain in detail. So you can see a live change of this. So next, click on next, and you just select if you have hierarchical information. So you need to choose feature or sub feature, and then move on. And finally, when you hit, it will show preview at the right side panel. So how the information would be populated in your EMA model after you import. So after clicking create, and second thing, another thing is like a major feature is like configuring the connector. So say for example, you have a requirements, and there could be multiple related requirements. So you need to map those requirements thing. So during the map profile creation, so you can select this. I will show you the demo. Click on the configure connectors, and you can select which column, and you can choose the connector type, but there can be aggregation, generalization, or whichever suits your model requirement. So you can choose that, and apply changes, and move on, and click OK. That will be saved. So what we just did is just the creation of the profile. So now to start the actual importing to your Excel document, so you need to go through these steps. So first you need to target Excel document from which from where the data needs to be put to your model. Then choose the profile. So this profile will be the whatever we created during our requirement, from the profile manager. The step 3 is like hierarchical information, whether you want to have hierarchical information to be set or like map, and you just preview the content and then just click import. So let's start with the importing the Excel data into the model. So same way, so you can go to the MDG Office menu or the specialist, and then choose Excel import. And from there, once you open that, the EA Excel importer will open. And next, choose the target document and the worksheet, and also you can specify the package name, and choose the profile. So say for example, you have created a specific profile for your Excel import. So choose from the profile drop down, and you can select the add diagram for each package. So in case you need to create the diagram on the fly during the import itself. And the second checkbox is enable synchronization. So when you enable this one, so it will create a backup Excel file. After importing your data successfully, it will create one Excel file that will have the widgets that's being created along with your EM model. So this will come handy when you do make a lot of changes. So when you want to make some, say you just, there is a recommend change and there is a description or something. So you can just, you need not go manually change. If it's one or two, it's fine. If it's going to be like thousands or more, or like a number of elements you need to change, just open this backup file and modify your details. I mean, modify the details and you can re-import it. And that will, I mean, that will come as an update and not create as a new element. In case you want to add, it'll add a new, add as new. So this is how, I mean, so once you hit the import, so it'll show you the import completed and status in this window. So how much gotten, so total number of elements identified, say for example import summary identified in the document, this much and this much. I mean, if there is any issue with any element, so that will be failed or it will show here. So this is the flow, I mean, theoretically on how the Excel importer tool works. Okay, so this is the Excel data. Say for example, we try to import to the EA model, and it will be converted to this elements in just few clicks and in just few minutes of profile creation and import. So isn't that the cool feature we have in EA? Right. Okay, let's try importing file. Do a live demo. And so let me open the EA. Let me create a new okay, now go to specialize, go to Microsoft Office, and first we need to create a profile for the Excel data. So already I've defined earlier one, so you can so if it is defined, it will already show here in this list. Let's go add new one, give a special name. Demo. So this is Excel sample Excel where we lab the details, and say for example, let me show. This is the file we are trying to import. So let me explain the file first. And so we'll have the first column as the element type. So you define how what type of model element you want in EA as from the Excel itself, so that it's easier and flexible, so that you need not specify. And second column is the ID. I mean, so you can have the have it as a tagged value in while importing. And this is a parent requirement. I mean, we have on the requirement details. So say for example, this is the parent requirement. We have two child requirements for this, and this will be for the details. So this is our structure. I mean, so you have the alias details. I've just added, I mean, so you can have the headers of any description. So whatever the last column G, I mean, so that's the connected to, I mean, maybe the related requirements or requirements. So for the sake of explaining the import, so I just took the requirements use, I mean, management as a sample, creating elements. So normally these would be in Excel or spreadsheet or Word, so that will be easier. So let's try importing this. So select your worksheet, and so that's requirement, and choose as my data as a element type. So we have already have the element type information in fed in the Excel, and click next. So this is where the model element type information we have in this column. Choose it. And so next we have the property mapping. So in the left side, when document property name will be visible, and the right side, so whichever EA, I mean, corresponding element we need to create. So since its ID is like so we can try creating a, say for example, requirement ID. Let me create as requirement ID tagged value, and parent requirement is the just choose the relevant columns from the drop down that will show you as well. So it may select as a nodes in the element, and connected to is the connectors that we have. So let's do I mean, so once you click this config connectors, so it will show up the details for that particular one, and you can change the connector type over here. So you just taken which column here, and you can even wish to change here if you have changed wrongly. Association, I just choose aggregation, that will be apt for the requirements, and rest stays same. So delimited by something like so there could be like more than one connected or related requirement, so you can have and can become separated. So in case you need to have connected tag settings, you can add a new tags over here as well, and just hit save. So I'm just change it, and so I'm just going to save it and apply changes, and so hit next. So it will take you to the next one. So now here, so we've just configured everything for the new profile, and so these are the details which shows as a preview. So, and you can see at the window. So after validating all your from the preview, so just hit create. So you'll get successful message, a new profile, and so employee submit demo has been created. Okay, hit OK, and you could see here. So next step is like, so we just created a profile. That's one step. And next step is just should be the actual data import. So just close this window. So just for managing your profile. So close the window. And in this window, once you can, other features will be like you can edit even the profiles if something you want to change in future. So we can go and edit this particular one and hit the and make similar changes. So I'm not going to do that now right now. So what I do is like I go, and now you have to choose import Excel document. So here, and so since my document has the data as well, so I'm just choosing the same Excel file here, and click the file and select the which worksheet, and just give recommends as my package name, and go select this profile whatever we created. And what I do is let's just I want to add a diagram that gets me all the requirements as well, and also hit the enable synchronization. What it will do is like you can just rename for the sequence, so it will create a file over there. Write the synchronization information in the backup file. So okay, and press apply, and just hit the preview. So import will not be enabled until you preview the document. Okay, so you have a look, in case so if there is error, or you can identify just before even pushing the data to the model. Okay, then what I'm going to do is just everything looks okay, and I'm just going to hit import. And when I click import, so just for the connection segment, so it will say okay, there are like two elements connecting to add users, and this is the connection type. So do you want okay? So you just click hit okay, and it will show you the details, and it'll have the output file backup getting created. So since I chose the option, so and it'll be created in this particular path. And so this is a summary. So all 10 requirements got imported and there is no failures. So yeah, in case there is any failures, or if element has not created, it will show up here. Okay, just hit close, and this is the details. Let's examine the project browser and how the details. Oh, okay, so here, so all the requirements have been added as a model. Elements here. I can show you the properties or details. In case, let me check the notes. Okay, so I have my requirements created as notes here as well. That's cool. So everything got created successfully. So I'm trying to drag this one, and let me create a review how the association. Okay, once I drag one, so the child requirements, right? When so it is already associated with the ad users, so it just have the aggregation connection and showing successfully. Okay, so this is how we import an Excel file. So this is just a sample. So whichever recommends suits for and we need to create the profile same way and then import into model. So that's most we have done it. Okay, so that's all on Excel importer. So over to Suresh for Word importer.
Thank you, Santhosh. That should be really useful information for the audience, I believe. Moving on to the next part of the session will be another powerful feature of MDG integration tool. It's nothing but the word importer, where the users can load the data simply into EA from a Word document with a reusable profile configuration. So not alone the Excel importer, uh, Spark system understands the information source to model could be from any formats which predominantly stored as documents like spreadsheets, uh, documents and presentations. As a wider solution, Sparks has envisioned to accommodate imports from a Microsoft Word, Excel, Visio, and a PowerPoint. So let's say the source document could be any format. I mean, it could be in any such format, like an organization may have a document format in a Word or else in a spreadsheet. So we need to accommodate Excel as well as the Word. So we have the MDG integration for the Word as well. So moving on to the next. So we have 5 different steps, as already Santhosh has explained about the Excel importer. We have 6 different steps to proceed with the Word importers. So let's say we have designed a Word document which is which has the requirements and the requirement descriptions and the properties, as well as a table like structure. Like this may not be the actual HLD document. This document is a sample structured document where I could maybe I'll just showcase the document. This is how the document is framed. So let's say this is a MS what sample requirement document where we plan to where we can have requirements. We can have 3 different packages. Let's say requirements and non-functional requirement models are packages are yet to be marked as the packages, and rest of the items, let's say the extensibility and other product types, are expected to be marked as a requirements. So this is an inline text format. The another sheet, the tabular requirements, is something different, where we're trying to showcase that Word importer is capable of importing the inline text as well as the uh, table views as well. So these are the profile explanations what already Santhosh has shown it for the Excel import, but this is the interfaces may somehow get differed comparatively, where the Excel sheet mapping towards the importer is something different comparatively with the Word, but the interface and the options may look something different, but we need to map it accordingly as per your document structure, as per your template is structured. So let's say we have four different options here. Let's say the element properties. Here we are capturing the profile name and description, which is optional, and a sample document. And we have a set of element properties lined up here. So this is something related to your sample template, whatever you have. Let's say this has been explained in the next slide. So if you could see the delimiter, it plays a role with a kind of documents what we're going to use. Let's say the inline text, these are the properties, these are the element names, and these are the descriptions, and these are the element properties. So if the element properties are mapped in a inline text, so preferably we can go with the first option, which is delimited name values passed in an inline text. And if in case if this is into a same cell, if the properties are marked into a same cell, we can preferably choose the second option. So this varies accordingly, like if it is in adjacent columns, we can select the third option, which is delimited name value passed in tables with value in the adjacent column. So this varies, like if the header is on the first row and we have the values on the second row, we can choose this option, the last one. So as of our document is structured in a way that we are capturing a set of packages, and we are capturing some high level requirements, and we are capturing some child requirements. So we are planning to capture some descriptions and set of properties and connectors for these requirements as well. So let's see. So these are the profile configuration where I could show you a demo on a on the tool directly. So let me first showcase my EA screen. Okay, this is my EA interface, and I have a root node created in this, where we just going to define a profile for a word importer. Let's say I'm choosing the word importer profile manager. So let me add a new profile here, and I'm just naming it as my requirements. And the profile description is optional. If we need, we can provide it. And the sample document is the document what we structured. So let me showcase that as well. So this is the sample document what we are planning to push into the EA, where this is in a package. This has to be mapped as a package, and this as a child package for the requirements. And this is a high level requirement element, and This is a high level requirement element, and these are the set of these are the properties and ID and a set of tagged values, and it's a connector. Okay, so let's just try to import the sheet. Just let's try to import the sheet in EA, and before that we have a tabular column as well for the second for the second child package, which actually named as a functional requirement, and a high level requirement named as a manage users, and a table format where it includes ID, which has to be captured as an alias, and name of a requirement and a description and a priority of an element and status and a connected requirement as well. So let me just try to create a profile. So I'm selecting the sample document from the path, and these are the element properties what we discussed earlier. Like let's say like we have both the combinations of inline text as well as the tabular format in our Word document. So the recommended way to go with this is we selecting the first option, and we have to choose the header. If in case if there is a table in your Word document, the header in the first row is expected to be chosen. So I have selected, I have just given a profile name and the element property as well as the definition for the table, and choosing the next window will gives me an option to map my title and heading in the Word document. So let's say the title of my Word document is the requirements, and so this is the second level. The title of the Word document is requirements, and this is the first level heading, and this is the second level heading. So let's say moving back to EA. So my title, I want my title as a package. So my title is requirement and I need it as a package. So I'm selecting a type of package. See, this first column is your document format, and how this is expected to be mapped to your EA format is what the actual logic here. So let's say I'm mapping my heading 1 as a package. So and the heading 2 as requirements and the heading 3 as requirements. Why I did this is because I want this as a package, this as a package, and this item as an requirement, as an high level requirement, and this as a sub requirement. So this would be a high level package, and this would be a sub package, and this would be uh, this package owns this requirement. That would be the hierarchy. So let us see how this works. So now I'm planning to map my properties here. So when I say about the properties, I have this in my inline text. So let's say I'm setting up the priority and the status and a ID. So priority is EA predefined property. So let's say this is, I'm mapping this as a priority and status as an element status, and I'm marking my ID as an alias. Signed off is expected to be mapped as a tagged value. So this is not a ES predefined attribute or tag. So we are expecting this to be mapped as a tagged value for an requirement explicitly. So what we have to do is we just select the new tag value option from this drop down and just mark it as signed off. And the part of from my sheet is expected to be marked as a connector between the parent requirement and the child requirement. So I'm marking it as a connector. So now the next step of this would be configuring the connectors. So I want the connector type to be an aggregation. So this is the column name. So the importer understands. We marked in the previous step, we marked part of as a connector. So that column is understood as the connector column, and the connector type is expected to be set as you like. So in this context, I'm just setting it as an association or aggregation, and it is a source to destination process, and I want this to be mapped to the requirement names, connected to the requirement names, and I don't have any tagged value for the connector. And if in case if you have any stereotypes for your connector, you're welcome to provide your stereotype here as well. So I'm just saving my connector configuration, applying the changes. So now as a first step, what I have did is I just mapped my inline informations. So moving on, as a next step, I am expected to capture this table, expected to capture this table format in the Word importer. So what would be the next step is, again, I have to map this ID, name, and description. Why is this? Because this table has this information, so this is expected to be mapped. So the type of element what I'm want to import is a requirement, and I don't have any stereotype, and the property of this should be, I'm planning to mark the ID as alias and name as an element name and description as notes, priority as a predefined property, and again status as an element status, and connector requirement as a connector. So again, I just try to configure the connectors as well, and again it's an aggregation. It's an aggregation. We are not going to make any other modifications. We need aggregation connector between the parent and child requirements, and it's a source to destination again. So save it, apply changes. Okay, so now it's an hierarchy definition. We need to set the hierarchy, and as per our structured document, the hierarchy is perfect, whereas the heading 1 is a child of the title, which is set to be requirement. Similarly, the heading 2 is a child of heading 1, and heading 3 is a child of heading 2, and that's what the intention is. So as a first step, the profile is created, and the very next step is to import your Word into EA. So again, I'm just selecting the root node, Microsoft Office, import a Word document, selecting my source document and the profile which I created, and I'm just naming this package as, I'm just creating a package and naming it as HLD requirements. And these are synchronization informations. Let's say if I'm checking this option, will link this Word document to the profile which I'm creating, and this option would, checking this one will add diagram for each of the packages, and this is to generate the synchronization information of the created elements and connectors in the property. So let me just try to add this alone, and let me preview these items. So this is what I expected, like uh, this is HLD is a parent package, and a requirements and non-functional requirements as a sub package, requirements, a high level requirement, and a child requirement. So let me just try to import this item into EA. If in case if there is another package where from which I have to choose my connectors or my destination elements, I can go with this. Else I don't need to add any additional packages here. So I'm just saying okay. creating this profile is just a one-time activity, and it's not always mandated that you it's not always mandated that you need to have uh, you need to recreate this profiles. You can just reuse this profiles. The only requirement is you need to have the structured, I mean, the document in the same format. So that's the only prerequisite, whereas you can just reuse your profiles as you like. And you can, the major advantage is you can also synchronize your data based on the goods which got generated while importing the stuff. So just we just look into the hierarchy here. So this is what we try to import: the functional comparing with the sheets, uh, comparing with the source document. The requirement is mapped as a package, and the non-functional and the functional requirements are marked as a sub packages. And then we have a diagram created for this and a parent requirement and sub requirements as well. So that's all about the word importer. Getting back to my presentation. So do you have any questions on this, please?
I thank Suresh and Santhosh on behalf of everyone for making this session a wonderful one. As we said earlier, now is the time for Q&A, and we will be reading out the questions from the chat, and Santhosh and Suresh will be answering them. So there is a question from Moidin that what will be usage of enable synchronization while importing?
Okay, this synchronization, like when we import a stuff into EA, when we import set of datas into EA, in the copy in the copy sheet, we may get the goods information generated along in the copy sheet. So while we synchronizing this information into EA, the goods will avoid the duplicates. So it may not create the duplicates. The synchronization data will allow you to restrict the duplicates while re-importing this Excel sheet back into EA. Like, let's say if you're going to update the Excel sheet, let's say if I'm going to rename an entity or requirement, so that has to be updated and not it should not be a new requirement. So it has to be updated. So in that case, synchronization information will help you to update the requirement and not to create a new requirement.
Thanks a lot, Suresh. There is another question from Violeta. Could you show how to import tags?
Definitely, we can show that, but I think we have seen that as well. Like maybe we can discuss in the Teams channel about how to the mode of import. Is it via Word document or is it through the Excel document? So we can discuss that in the Teams channel.
Thanks, Santosh and Suresh, for your wonderful presentation, and thanks to everyone for your time and support throughout the session. Hope it is very informative and gives deeper insight into the topic. Now, Santosh and Suresh will be available in MS Teams to have a detailed discussion and answer more questions. The link to the MS Teams channel is posted in the chat window for your quick reference. If anyone is having any difficulties in connecting to Teams, please reach us out the chat window or write us at registrations@globalsummit.com. Thanks once again, everyone, and looking forward to host you all in another wonderful session shortly. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Santosh.